Please be seated. Good evening. Welcome to the class of 1993's baccalaureate service. We are gathered here this evening to give thanks to those who have helped us reach this point in our lives and also to celebrate what we have done and where we are going. The most important people for us to thank tonight are our parents. These are the people that have guided us throughout life. It was they who bandaged our boo-boos as children, tried to mend our suffering hearts as teenagers, and now will be the first to offer advice as we travel into new adventures as adults. It is also important that we acknowledge our teachers, who showed us what to learn and often made suggestions on how to remember the things that we were taught. But perhaps the most influential people in our lives for the last 13 years have been you, our friends. Friends are the people we have spent the laughter, tears, pain, joys, and sorrow with. When it seemed that there was nothing that could get any worse, there has been a friend there to lift us up, pat us on the back, and most importantly, to know exactly what we are feeling. In these next few weeks, do not fear what is coming. Be thankful for what we have given each other and realize that we can together head straight on into the future. I hope that this service will leave you inspired and possibly even more prepared for the wonderful adventures that lie ahead of us.
A lamp in darkness. If I can bear your love like a lamp before me, when I walk down the long road of darkness, I shall not fear the shadows. I shall not cry out in terror. If I can find God, then I shall find him. If I cannot, then I shall sleep soundly, knowing how well on earth your love sustains me. A Lamp in Darkness by Sarah Teasdale.
It's hard to let you go. In the Father's hands we know that a lifetime's not too long to live as friends. With the faith and love God's given, springing from the hope we know. We will pray the joy you'll live in. friends forever, if the Lord's the Lord of them. And a friend will not say never, 'cause the welcome will not end. Though it's hard to let you go, in the Father's hands we know that a lifetime's not too long to live as friends. And friends are friends forever, if the Lord's the Lord of them. And a friend will not say never, 'cause the welcome will not end. Though it's hard to let you go, in the Father's hands we know that a lifetime's not too long to live as friends. No, a lifetime's not too long to live as friends.
There is going to be one change in the program tonight. I'm still Laura Lee Miller, but the speech I'm giving isn't on the joy of learning. My speech tonight is on dreams, for everyone who has the courage to dream and for everybody who's just waiting for someone to dare them to try. Each one of you has, or can have, something that can lift you up into the wings of all the birds that fly. You can see through their golden eyes. You can touch the wind that sweeps their velvet feathers. You can know the joy of going way up high above the world and all its cares. You can stay as long as you want in the sky. And when you feel like coming down again, your questions will have answers and your worries will have gone. Believe it or not, all of you can do these things if you have one special thing. In Richard Bach's book, There's No Such Place as Far Away, these special things were magical rings. But they symbolize something extremely important: dreams. Dreams are what can lift you up into the sky and make you see things you've never seen before and do things you never thought possible. Dreams. Now, I'm not talking about the misty images that come to you in sleep, but grand ideals, bright visions for the future, and irrepressible hopes. Do you have a ring? Do you have a dream? Now, every year, Linus dreams of the great pumpkin. A little boy swings a bat and sees himself in the World Series. And a handicapped girl struggles and fights to walk. And every year, someone tells Linus there is no great pumpkin. Someone laughs at the idea of a scrawny boy even imagining himself playing baseball. And someone sadly, but firmly, tells a little girl in a wheelchair, "You'll never walk." "Don't dream," they cry, "you're destined for heartache." But what heartache could compare to Halloween without Linus's hero, without Linus's dream? What heartache could be greater than that of a boy who sees his size as a limitation, who feels he will never be able to do what he so desperately wishes? And what heartache could even touch that of a little girl who has already lost so much and now has lost maybe the only thing she had left? Her dreams. You see, dreams are life-giving. Dreams are hope-giving. They should never be discouraged or laughed at or lost. Before you shatter a dream, remember that, more often than not, the dream itself is just as important as its realization. Now, I would guess that every one of you, at some time or another, have been asked the question, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Well, I want you to think about that one more time, but broaden it a little bit. Not only where do you see yourself, but where do you see the world, the people, sometime in the future? Have you thought about it? Well, if you're a dreamer, the world you just saw was probably cleaner and more peaceful, full of love. Maybe you pictured yourself president of the United States, saw the discovery of aliens or new planets, or maybe you just imagined yourself married to the person you've always dreamed of. But if you're a non-dreamer, your world would have been different, more full of hatred and war, or perhaps you didn't see anything at all. Non-dreamers often don't like to think about the future. But luckily for those of us who do dare to dream, we're not alone. There are millions of dreamers out there, thinking and sharing, exploring and loving, with minds full of questions and a desire to look beyond the ordinary. There have even been people throughout history who've been known for being dreamers. Martin Luther King, Jules Verne, John Lennon, and Anne Sullivan, Helen Keller's inspirational teacher. Now, outwardly, Anne Sullivan was quite plain and practical, but she was a dreamer. She believed with all her heart and soul that a blind and deaf girl could speak, and through learning come to see. It was Anne's dreams that turned a petulant child into an eager young woman and inspired others, including myself, to dream. And Walt Disney, if he had not dreamed, we would never have known his world of fantastical, magical creatures. Imagine life without the wisdom of Jiminy Cricket, the lessons learned from Mickey and Donald and Goofy. Pinocchio dreamed of becoming a real boy. Snow White of finding her prince. Walt Disney of touching a few hearts, making people feel young and happy. It was their dreams that were the birth of sweet hopes in so many of our hearts. They evoked millions to laugh and sing and wish upon stars. And the inventors, Franklin, Edison, Bell, they too were dreamers. Somewhere, sometime, the inventors allowed themselves to believe in a wild idea. Some were laughed at, others actually declared insane. But they didn't give up, and the world would change with the realization of their dreams. You see, dreamers are constantly creating. It might be an invention or simply an idea or a question, but the more you dream, the more you realize just how much you can do. Unfortunately, there are actually things out there that keep us from dreaming. And one of these is that the very words dreamer, romantic, idealist, they're often given a negative connotation. Dreams are considered to be flighty things, restricted to days poets and artists with no concept of reality. If you're a romantic, you live in a world of hearts and flowers where everything is always perfect. Well, that isn't true. Reality does have a part in even the most romantic dreamer's life, but they do have a more positive outlook than strict realists. Dreamers are rather like the noted psychologist Carl Rogers' idea of the fully functioning individual. Dreamers are open to all experience. They're aware about their virtues and their faults, yet they have a high positive regard for themselves. Most important of all, dreamers have happy relationships with others. Sounds great. So why don't all of us dream? Why are there those of us out there who live day to day, subsisting on the realities of life, rather than frolicking in the stardust and light of dreams? It's because there are so many pressures and stresses, reminders of reality, and seemingly so little time to escape. The newspaper is filled with horrors and problems and disappointments. It's extremely easy to fall into the general pessimism and hopelessness. It's easier than searching to find the goodness. It's a lot easier than dreaming. If you simply accept what you see and refuse to look further, there's very little chance your life will be upset. But when you dream, your emotions are intensified. Those horrors and problems in the world might possibly be magnified. And what if your dream was lost or destroyed? So don't dream. Don't search for answers. Don't discover beautiful new things. Don't see the promises in tomorrow. Don't recognize the extraordinary possibilities of your life. Don't. And see what kind of life you have left. Yes, there is a risk involved in dreaming. There's a risk involved in anything worthwhile, but take the risk. Don't be afraid to let go, to believe that which cannot be explained, to look beyond the faces of the world to the hearts. Your lives might possibly be changed forever. Ask Linus, or a little baseball player, Helen Keller or Walt Disney. Or how about asking our fearless girl, who refuses to give up, and who, maybe tomorrow, will stand and walk again. She honestly thinks she will. I think she will. Please dare to dream and tell that little girl that you believe it too.
Well, we've reached that point in our lives when every relative, every family friend, every distant aunt or great uncle is eagerly vying for our attention. They want to give us the key to success or let us in on that great secret of happiness. They've been around for a while, they've seen it all, and they've done most of it. So they feel that they're qualified to expound to us the secrets of life. And they've probably earned their soapboxes, which I haven't yet done. I've been around for a comparatively short 17 years. And while I have learned plenty of lessons, most of my years are ahead of me. My years of experience have made me who I am today, but the years to come will help me to grow and mature into the person that I ultimately hope to be. So what can I tell you today? Well, I definitely can't share with you the secret of happiness, and I can't give you my secret formula to success. I'll leave that to your great-grandpa Milo or your great-aunt Mildred. Basically, I think that most of us will continue to live our lives in the manner that we've grown accustomed to living them. But that's not to say that we won't grow as people. The next few years should bring us maturity, lead us to independence, and help us discover self-reliance. We are the most gifted, the most blessed, the most amazingly unique and special and brilliant form of life on the earth. We have within ourselves the power to do anything. We think, we feel, we dream, we create, we love. We can be anything and everything that we want to be. So why don't we? One of Henry David Thoreau's most famous and often quoted sayings is, "If a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps it's because he hears a different drummer. Let him step to the music which he hears, however measured or far away." It's so easy for us to lose track of the beat that's inside. We hear all of the music being made by those around us, and sometimes tune out what comes from here. We all wear masks every day of our lives. We're accustomed to it. It's easier to conceal the feeling part of who we are behind a false front because then no one can touch us. It's time to realize what special gifts we are to the world and not cover ourselves with false surface personalities. Why not be who we are and let the world take us for that? We need to disregard other people's demands and expectations and live to the beat that really matters, the beat that's inside of each of us. I know that's easier said than done. At this point, most of us don't have one beat we're attempting to follow, but more likely there's an entire band inside of us playing 10 different instruments, leading us in 10 different directions. Our lives may not yet have the clear, defined purpose as those of Martin Luther King, or Susan B. Anthony, or Mother Teresa, or Gandhi. To get to where these amazing men and women were, to achieve what they achieved, we must stand true to ourselves and our beliefs. It's from such true inner loyalty that our world has grown and been bettered. Each of us possesses the power to make this world a better place. All we need to do is stand up for who we are inside and to recognize that unique gift that it is we have to offer and to use it to the best of our abilities. Take off the masks and be who it is that we were meant to be, the person that we're happy with. What we can't do is let that person we're happy with be less than our best self. It's so easy to be satisfied with being less than we could be. And I don't mean success-wise, I mean less as people. Less sensitive, less caring, less honest, and less compassionate towards others. We're all human, but that's no excuse for mediocrity. A good friend of mine, and a soon-to-be junior at Wadsworth, wrote this following passage as a part of her original piece and speech this year. Sometimes, instead of being the people we are inside, we wrap ourselves up like a gift-wrapped package, afraid that the world won't accept us for who we truly are. But by doing so, we're making it harder to discover the personal uniqueness we hold inside because we can't get past the wrapping and the ribbon on the surface. Anyone who knows Jessica Kuczynski knows someone who has managed to forego the wrapping and present herself to the world in the only way she knows how, as Jessica. We really don't need the wrappings. because when you think about it, there shouldn't be any deception between ourselves and the world around us. I'm not suggesting that we all wear our hearts on our sleeves or our life stories blazoned across our foreheads. That would be painful and more than a little humiliating, and it would take all the fun out of getting to know people. But we can't let ourselves be limited by the glossy surface wrappings and bows. We need to be free to be ourselves. It's the differences among us that make life so interesting. I'm going to rely on the master of the written word to sum things up for me. William Shakespeare, who always has a way of stating things perfectly, once wrote, "This above all else, to thine own self be true, and thou cannot be false to any man." In order to live life to the fullest, in order to find happiness and peace, we must learn to live and exist in total truth to ourselves. The happiest people in the world are the people who are happy with themselves and proud of who they are morally and spiritually. Those are the people who are free to give of themselves to others. Those are the people who are the least selfish and the most fulfilled. It's difficult to be satisfied with life unless your satisfaction starts inside. It's impossible to depend wholly on outward happiness, outward sources for your joy and peace. Close friends and family are very important. I've been blessed with the best of both worlds. I have friends who've been true inspirations to me and who, more importantly, bring out the best in me again and again. And I have family who I love with all my heart and who accept me unconditionally. But when it comes right down to it, it's us. It's ourselves that we must live with and that we must rely on and learn to respect and learn to love. So follow your own drummers, be true to yourselves, and don't accept anything less than the best you can give. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.
Barter. Life has loveliness to sell, all beautiful and splendid things. Blue waves whitened on a cliff, climbing fire that swings and sways. Children's faces looking up, holding wonder in a cup. Life has loveliness to sell, music like a curve of gold. The scent of pine trees in the rain, eyes that love you, arms that hold. And for the soul's delight, holy thoughts that star the night. Spend all you have for loveliness, buy it, and never mind the cost. For one white precious hour of peace, count many a year's strife well lost. And for a breath of ecstasy, give all that you have been and all that you can be. Barter by Sarah Teasdale.
In memory of our friend and classmate, Tim Smith, who left us prematurely this year, I would like to request that we pause for a moment of silence. God bless you, Tim. We miss you. Thank you for attending our service. I would ask that you all remain seated until the entire class has exited the gym. Class of 1993, would you please stand?